everyone. My name is Katy from Greenland Quilters, and I have my friend Martha from Martha's Creative Life, and we are going to do a sew along together. And what we'll be doing is Moda Blockheads 5, which started this past week. And each week we will be doing a block. Basically, I will record 1 week, and then the following week, Martha will be doing it. And each time we have the recordings, we will be making the next week's block. And so this week's block is called Autograph Star. And I am going to try to show you what it looks like. And we will put the links down in the description box so that you can follow there. There's also a Facebook group for Moda Blockheads, and we'll explain we'll post all of those links so that you can find your way to where you need to go to join the group if you want to. And also, so these block patterns will be free. They're through Moda, and Moda has a website that every Wednesday, the group will issue the next block. On Fridays, they will be uploaded to the Moda website, and I will post both links down below so that you can find them easily. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over to Martha for a few minutes.
Hello, everyone. It's Martha with Martha's Creative Life. And so I am so glad that I'm getting to do this with Katy. And so this is something very new for me. I've never done Moda Blockheads. When she asked me about this, I'm like, what? What is this? So this is new. So it's number 5. So come to find out that Moda has been doing this for 5 years. So this is the 5th year that they're doing it. So I'm going to have a lot of fun doing this with Katy, and we're just going to have a good time. And I did go ahead and pick out my fabric for this one. And it's neat because we're doing this with Moda, and the fabric that I chose is with Moda. And this one is the Cottage Blue, and it's by Robin Pickens and for Moda Fabric. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. That's what I picked. This special fabric was a wonderful gift from my friend Nancy, and she had sent me some happy mail a couple of months ago. So I thought that this would be a great time to be able to use a gift that was given to me by Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. And the fabric is just so beautiful. And so I was cutting it out, and I thought this is a really great choice. There's like yellows in the layer cake, there's blues, and there's greens. I chose greens for this time. Okay, so I think that's about it for right now for me. I'm ready to get started. I'm excited. So will you want to tell me or show us what you're doing for your fabric, or maybe we can show the fabric
Did in you a minute. Want to show your fabric first? Or
yeah,
yeah. Why don't you go
so
ahead?
In this block, there are A, B, C, D, and E. So I used my alphabeties, my Christmas ones that I had gotten in a Fat Quarter Shop box a while back, probably last year. So this one's going to be my A. This one is going to be my B. This one is going to be my C. And my D. And I chose to make my E the same the same as my A. It really, you could have 5 colors, and that's what's so great about these patterns, and any pattern that you do, it's like a recipe, like what's Becca says from Sew Becca. You can change up, and it's like a recipe. So I'm doing 4 colors, 2 of them the same.
Okay, that's terrific. So what I chose to do, or what I'm going to use, is batiks, and the whole quilt would be made of batiks. But this is going to be my background, and on this block I'm going to be using it for A and B. And then here's red, which will be my outer star part, which will be C. And the very center rectangle is going to be in this yellow batik. Only the lines will go horizontal on it. I don't know if you can see the lines or not. And then the two other rectangles, which is D, will be this pink. Okay.
I think you chose some great colors.
Yeah, I think you did too.
Thank you.
It should be interesting to see how our blocks come out.
I know, I'm excited.
So I was wondering, how are you planning to do your half square triangles?
I was going to follow the directions on the back.
Okay, well, I'm going to cheat.
Any different ways that we can do our half square triangles.
Yeah, that's
I know
right.
there's lots of videos out there too, but I figured just for this purpose, I was just going to see if I could follow the pattern that they created for us.
Yeah, and I think that's a great idea. And then I'll show you an alternate way of doing it by using triangle paper. And that way you
There you go.
at least we'll be showing you two ways to make triangles, half triangles. So we're going to go ahead and start sewing, and we'll stop from time to time to show you where we are on it.
Okay, that sounds good. So you ladies and gentlemen, when you're watching this video with us, you are more than welcome to go print out your patterns and do this with us. We would love to have you share your blocks on the Facebook page. We were looking today, and I don't think they're on Instagram. So we figured that some way we can like tag us on Facebook so that we can see what you're working on, or just say, hey, Martha and Katy, come look at what I did. Let us know what you're doing, and feel free to ask us questions. We'll be happy to help as much as we possibly can.
Yep. And I hope in the next few days we can figure out how we can make it so that we can see what blocks you make, should you not be on our friends list or anything like that. That's something that we still have to figure out.
Yeah, we kind of have to work out some of the kinks, right?
Yeah, maybe we can just make a hashtag for Instagram for the Instagram users, and then we'll figure out what we do about the Facebook part.
Because you get to see what we're making, but we want to see what y'all are making too.
Yeah.
We want to be able to see.
I don't know, maybe we should
what everybody's making.
So if you guys
maybe we should what?
Maybe the audience will have an idea of what we could do where they can share their blocks where everybody can see them. Maybe somebody has a good idea.
That's a really, really good idea. I like that.
Yep.
Let us know.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to start sewing.
So what I did on mine is I did not cut out all my fabrics. I had all ready to go, but you are doing your half square triangles a different way.
Yeah.
So mine, I have to draw some lines on them first before I can start sewing.
But you cut all your other stuff out though, right?
Oh yeah, I cut out A through E. I just didn't because it tells me I need to, on the wrong side of each square B, I need to draw a line from corner to corner. Yeah. I didn't do that part because I figured that's what we'll do on here.
I kind of grown to like the paper because it, especially, well, for a small project, you really don't have to use them. But there's a project I did that was for a guild that I was participating in, a mystery quilt, and there was like 300 half square triangles.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of half square triangles.
When you use the paper, you can get all of those blocks sewn and trimmed apart in one day.
That's impressive.
Yeah, because 4 patches take longer for me because you got, depending on how you do it, but it takes me quite a lot longer than just using paper.
And I think all of us, for the most of us who've been quilting for a little while, we find that there's different ways that work for, best for us. And we like to sometimes share those best practices. So I'm glad that you shared that paper a few minutes ago with yours. I'm sure I have some around here somewhere, but maybe if there's a more
Photoshop thing.
I'm sure it came from Pat Quarter Shop, sew sampler box.
Yeah,
I think I have something. I think it's got the half square triangles.
Yes, it does.
Later on, I'll have to look.
Yeah, because she's put some in the boxes in the past. So it's possible you have one. And I will post a link for the half square triangles in the description box as well. Should you decide you want to test run one.
Okay. That sounds good. I've been working on a big project, and I on my last week's podcast, I had mentioned that I had to run to the quilt store to get more spray starch, and so the bottle that I bought, pretty much got it all done too. It's it's starting to bubble at me. It's starting to bubble at me when I go to use it. So I did buy some other Best Press, Mary Ellen's Best Press, but it was in scented. So I actually used it for these. I know that everybody has, opinions about starching and not starching, and I'm kind of finding that I like the starching a little bit. It's nice. So I starched my fabrics for this. Here goes.
I decided to start with the center block first so that I could already get it done and show it to you.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I just got to be careful what I'm cutting while I'm doing it. This is supposed to be 6.5. So our blocks are going to be 12.5 finished, I believe.
Yes, and they're on the instructions. You can also do the 6.5 also.
Yep.
So some of us may want to do a smaller block, and some of us may want to do a bigger block. So again, it's up to you as to how you want to work on your your blocks.
Looking for my other sewing machine foot. I use this. Yeah, see, I made myself bleed. That's not cool. On my
What you do?
Oh, I put myself with a pin. This is a acrylic, or whatever you call it, plastic foot, open toe foot. And I like this the paper because you can see the lines easier, and also it seems to slide across the paper better.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yep.
I love that. We all are full of good ideas.
Yep.
There's always something that we can share with each other.
What's
so anyway, so during the video, while we're doing all this, we'll be here to chit chat with you. So, if you have any questions or you want to sew along with us, and if you're like me, you had never heard of it before, let us know.
And if you have heard of it, you can also let us know if any of you are going to do it, already doing it as well.
Maybe you're like Katy and you've already done them multiple times, and this is my first one. This is my maiden Moda voyage.
No, first time for everything.
That's right.
So before I cut this, look what I did on the back. Anyway, y'all ignore the little sticky note that got caught in the thread. So what the back of it looks like when you're doing half square triangle paper, and this is what the front looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them based on the solid lines is what you cut on, and then you can use a square up ruler to trim to the proper size. And these are supposed to be what size are they supposed to be? The half square triangles are supposed to be 3.5.
So I've already got all of my B and C squares right sides together, and then I have to do a scant 1/4 inch seam on both sides of the drawn line. So I've got that done. So and now all I'm doing is I'm cutting the squares apart into half square triangles. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Good plan.
And I already have to pull out my fringe jack. My lines got a little bit messed up. This one's for you, Sean, from the guy who sews.
Sean's been really helpful today for me.
Yeah, Sean is a wonderful, wonderful friend.
Yep.
If y'all do not know who we're talking about, we are talking about Sean. He's from his YouTube channel is The Guy Who Sews. And he has been a wonderful mentor to me. And then also Donna from Handmade by Ying with Donna. She's been a wonderful mentor as well. But Sean and I have known each other for over a year now. And his best friend is Jack, his best mate is Jack. But if you haven't checked out his channel, we'll put his link down below so that you can go check him out. He does a wonderful live on Saturday mornings. And then he also puts out a weekly podcast. And he is the one that helped me to decide to start doing my weekly podcast. He gave me the inspiration.
What I like about the quilting community, we all like to help each other out.
Oh, yeah. And I know you have so many that, have been there for you as well.
Yeah. The first person that I could mention is, I didn't know what about all this quilting stuff. I mean, I have quilts made by my grandmother that are, one of them I still have is over 100 years old, but
wow.
My mother, she used to make, all of my clothes and stuff when I was young. And then when I reached teenage years, I was making my own clothes. She loved to do what I love to do, and that is grow things. But she spent a lot of time outside gardening, growing vegetables and stuff. And so there was always a joke about us kids. She would go outside and harvest peas and okra and stuff, or peas, beans, and okra. And we'd be sitting in there, and we're supposed to be shelling the peas and beans, and we would shell them, and then we would be eating them.
Well, I mean, I remember growing up, we didn't have all the, I'll go ahead and tell you, I'll be 51 in November. That's when my birthday is. And so, when I was growing up, I lived out in the country, and we were, like you said, shelling peas and husking corn, and we didn't have all the extra stuff that we have in today's world. There was a time and a place for everything, and everything that you did was to take care of you and the family. These colors are looking so pretty together. I've got all of my 8 half square triangles sewn together. So I'll go ahead and take a minute, and this is what they look like. And of course, I got some little woofs here. I've got some little doggy ears. I need to cut those off.
Your colors are exceptional.
Oh, thank you. I can thank Miss Nancy for those. For being so sweet and sending me happy mail.
One of the ladies or one of the fellow quilters that comes into Becca's VIP Zoom, she's been doing batiks for her what's the name of that book? Something Stars Again. And she's using batiks, but the batiks she's using are different hues and shades of greens and blues, and her quilt is going to be beautiful.
I bet.
But the colors are just, snazzy looking.
My bestest sister-in-law, Stephanie, that lives up north, she's the one that introduced me really to batiks. Didn't really know what they were, because I still do. I like the solids and the flowers and all that stuff. And she's like, well, do you know about batiks? And I'm like, no. So, she's was the first one to send me, happy mail, and she still does. She's so sweet and loving. But she sent me some batiks, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah, there's some, you'll see some that you're like, but most of the time, I just love them.
Yeah. And then so when CottonCuts asked me to be an ambassador for them for their gnomes, I'm like, yeah, and I would love to. It'd be a huge honor. So they're like, well, we're gonna have you do the batiks, and I'm like, fantastic. And I'm like, I get to work with petite. And there's the June boy gnome. He's behind me tonight.
I like
He's hanging out with me.
the July ones you did. Oh my gosh. The
Thank you. Those are my
cheeks are gorgeous for that one.
the July one. He's my favorite because it's patriotic. It's red, white, and blue. You know, I love our country, and you know, it's always you know, because my husband is a proud United States Navy veteran, and he served his 21 years, and he's very proud, and I'm very proud of him. So batiks just any of the red, white, and blue, they just naturally, they just speak to my heart all the time.
So was he on an aircraft carrier or something?
He was not on an aircraft carrier. He did a lot of different things in the Navy. But he well, I think he flew a lot on airplanes in his job he did.
Nice.
Instead of the aircraft carriers. Yeah.
My daughter was stationed on the USS George Washington for 4 years, and they were in Japan when
Oh, wow.
happened.
Wow. Okay, so I got those 8 done. Look at those colors. Aren't they beautiful?
Pretty. Very pretty.
Okay, so I have a question about step 2. It says layout D&E rectangles as shown. Join to make the center unit measuring either the 6-inch block or the 12-inch block.
Layout D&E rectangles.
But why does it have the arrows going up and down or left or right?
Okay, so you can see they're showing them in a horizontal position on the thing, but some people might want to turn them and do them the other way. But here's what
that's what
that's
what they mean.
like.
You're either going to do it. Oh, you did yours like that, or you could flip it the other way.
The other way, yeah.
Oh, okay. Rookie question. Sorry.
No,
Like, what does that mean?
What we're here for in case somebody has a question. Or
Katy
even
I already answered a question. You helped me answer a question that I had. Now everybody else doesn't have to wonder. Thanks.
I love that they give you 2 sizes that you can make.
I do too.
I like that about Order Shop too, because they do the same thing with their patterns. They'll give you multiple sizes if you want to, you know, depending.
Yep.
Oh, I need to turn this thing the other way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trim the blocks before I cut them apart to get the excess fabric off of them.
Did that paper make it easy for you where it was you saved some time?
Yeah, I can save a lot of time with them, and that's what I like about them. You know, you don't necessarily have to use them for, like, if you're only going to make like 2 to 4 half square triangles, it's probably overkill. But you know, I'm making 8, and since we're on a video, I wanted to like try not to waste a lot of time because I'm a slow sewer. And yeah, but I find it handy when you're making lots of them.
Yeah, so it's a time saver, and then it also would help too, just for accuracy as well.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the other thing. It's very accurate. I'm angle challenged, so sometimes doing it like this helps me not make mistakes. Sometimes I still do. I'll turn a triangle the wrong direction, and then I'm like, oh no, look what I did.
And except for the question that I had just a minute ago about why they were having the arrow going up, or up and down and then left to right, I didn't think about that. You could do whichever way you wanted to.
Oh, that arrow
fabric, but the directions are very easy too.
Yeah. And also those arrows are also telling you that the block should be, if you're doing the smaller block, it should be 3.5. And if you're doing the larger block, it should be 6.5 by 6.5. So that's why they're right by the arrow.
And I think because with the rest of the blocks, since I'm not quite sure, what I'm going to be using for the rest of them, because Nancy's Happy Mail that she had sent to me was a layer cake, but I know that I won't have enough to do all the blocks. So
let me see.
It's nice because I actually like this this what are we calling this block?
It's called the
autograph star. I really like the autograph star, and that would make a cute pattern to use for all the other layer cake fabrics that I have from this line. So I may use some of the Happy Mail that came from my bestest sister-in-law, Stephanie. I'll see what she's got because she sent me a lot of purples because that's my favorite color. So I may start using some of that fabric too. Maybe I might do 2 different, I don't know. The possibilities are endless. So it's a good way to use up some of the fabric that you have.
Yep. Like I'm just dipping into my stash.
So instead of going out and buying fabric at the store, there's nothing wrong with that. But, if you want to use what you've got, in your stash, go for it.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you put stuff away, you're like, oh, I didn't realize I had that. So it's like you went shopping and forgot you had it. And then you go shopping again and it's like it's brand new to you again. And where are you at right now? You cutting out your triangles?
Yeah, I'm cutting them. I'm fixing to show how they look after I cut them apart.
Okay.
So one of how I well, yeah, I'm going to show them to you first. So all paper. See, on this side you can see the paper, and then on the other side is one of the colors. Okay, so normally what I do before I pull the paper off of mine, I will measure to make sure they're the correct size, and if they need to be trimmed down, I'll trim them down first. And then when I got it to the right size, I will take and fold the paper back like this. And you see these little dog ears? I'll go ahead and cut off before I take the paper off. And then after that, I take the paper and how I folded it on the seam line, and then I'll turn it back around and fold the other side, the really narrow side, toward the seam line as well, like this. And then when I get ready to tear it off, it'll tear off easier. And you also have to use a smaller stitch with the paper, because if you use a regular stitch and you go to rip it off, especially down here, I recommend never take the paper off the corners. Cut the paper in half like that, and then peel it off.
That's a great tip.
Yeah, and then that way you're not ripping the seam off the side of your half square triangle. I need to make sure that they're correct size before I start doing anything.
Somebody's going to ask. I know it, so I'm going to ask for them. What stitch length are you using since you're using the paper?
Well, I have a Janome 6700P, so I'm using a 1.5 stitch length. So I don't know. I don't know if that's small or not. It looks small to me. But sometimes Kimberly of Fat Quarter Shop will tell what she's using, and she'll say she's using a 2.0 or something, and I'm thinking, gosh, that sounds like a big stitch. But maybe it isn't.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll show my square that I just got done.
Sounds good.
This one is the D and the E. So I can either put it in the block this way, or I can put it in the block this way. So this one, because I'm doing the 12.5-inch square, no, the 12-inch block, I'm sorry. This one is a 6.5. So if you were doing the 6-inch block, it would be smaller than that. It would probably be, well, it would be 3.5. I wanted to do the bigger block. Yeah, I think while you're working on that, I'm going to take a minute because you reminded me to check my squares. I checked my step 2 to make sure it was the right size, but I didn't check the other one.
Yeah.
The half square triangle. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, I got to make sure they're the right one because I think they might be a 1/4 of an inch bigger, which is pretty normal. I could have used a 3-inch finished, but sometimes I get a little confused and go ahead and do it unfinished, and then I just trim down. I didn't want to mess up and have to start all over again.
Yeah, mine wound up being just a little bit bigger because it says to stitch a scant 1/4 inch seam, so I may have made it a little bit, maybe a scant.
I don't do scant inches.
Well, it said to do a scant, so that's why I did.
Oh, it did. You're right. But yeah,
I was following the directions.
I saw somebody asking about that on the Moda Blockheads group. So I said, why do I need to do scant 1/4 inch? Don't want to.
Well, it's because it's a pattern and it's like a recipe. You get to make it how you want to make it.
Right. You do it how you want to.
That's right.
And as long as you're consistent, it's going to come out right anyway.
Right.
Or at least that's my thing, because I've discovered as long as I'm consistent, most things come out the way they're supposed to. You know, I might be off an 1/8 or something. And to me, an 1/8 is nothing to cry about. But I'm really off. When I first started, it was a mess. What I was
We
doing.
get better as we go.
Yeah. So what I'm doing now is I'm setting my seam on all of my half square triangles, and then
Okay.
I'm going to iron them or press them open, and I am going to do open seams on mine.
Okay.
So I know that's pretty wow, look at that. Oh, never mind. I know that's controversial, but I have discovered that my triangles put together look much more cleaner.
Yeah, and it's really kind of it's like starching your fabric, you know, whether you want to starch it or not, or you want to press your seams open or have them pressed to the dark side. It's whatever you want.
Yeah,
Whatever works best for you.
I still think I'm a beginner, maybe a beginner advanced, maybe. And that's because I haven't learned to make the triangles where they're pressed to one side without losing points. You know, I'm still struggling with that. And I think as skill set improves, that will at some point happen as well. I'll get where I can do it without having to do that.
Yeah. And I try to always remember, you know, done is better than perfect.
Yep. Don't have to be perfect. Just finished.
Yeah. But although I can tell you this project that I've been working on, man, I was trying to make it as perfect as possible because, you know, it's not for me, it was for somebody else. So I was just like, I have to make it as perfect as I possibly can. You know, like it's not just going to be on my couch, it's going to be on somebody, you know, somebody else's couch, and they're going to get to give it all the love and the cuddles. I want it to look perfect.
Can't say what it is.
It's a commission project.
Mm.
I haven't shared it because the person might see it on the channel. So.
Oh, so it's supposed to be
Yeah.
Speaking of quilts, I've got to get that one that I'm being paid for finished. so that my husband
The
can
what now?
take it with him when he goes to work. Because it's one of the sailors on board that's paying me for it.
Oh, wow.
No, he didn't even flinch when he asked me how much I wanted for it, and I just did a best guess because I had no idea. When I told one of the fellow tourist tour guides, we were talking about my quilts and stuff, and he said, I saw where you said you were talking about somebody paying you to make one. I said, yeah. And he said, well, how much did you tell him? And I told him, and he says, you did not ask for enough money. That's what he told me.
Oh.
I'm like, no, I'm just guessing. I really don't know because most of what I used was from stash stuff, and it was batik.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it had come from $6 a yard yarded,
Yeah.
And the star is really huge. It's one of Becca's patterns, so there's not that. I mean, the points and everything are still right on task, but I didn't have small itty bitty pieces to work with. It was big pieces. I didn't feel like that. Go ahead.
Did you use one of her patterns, one of her ones that she just recently wrote?
Yeah. The exploding.
That's awesome.
The exploding star one.
Oh, awesome.
It's really pretty.
If y'all haven't seen that one, maybe we can put the link in the description. The description is going to have a lot of information in it.
Yeah, definitely. I'll put it in there. Do you think we need to put a description of what we're using to sew with and everything?
What do you mean?
I noticed some people, they put what they use for, what they're sewing with and what they're using in these streams, and I didn't know if we could do.
I was just gonna, since I talked about the fabric I'm using, that was all I was gonna put in it. I thought that was good enough.
Yeah, because I don't know what some of these boutiques are by, or who they're by, rather. I just know that I love them. This red and blue looks really good together.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. And it's red and blue, you said.
Yeah. The background is that really dark blue, and the red, the outer blades of the star is going to be red. So it looks really good together.
Awesome.
I'm about to show them. I'm just pressing them the rest of the way.
Okay. I've already shown everybody mine, so we're all waiting in anticipation of what you have.
Okay, so this is what my half square triangles look like.
Oh, very, very pretty.
Yeah, it goes good together. Okay,
I like that.
So now what I'm going to do is lay everything out, and then I'll start sewing it together.
So I'm having to stop and go back because I really, my half square triangles were a lot bigger than 3.5. So I did not.
Maybe the pattern.
I really followed that scant 1/4 inch seam. I really followed that to a T.
So that might be why, huh?
Yeah, I was paying attention to the directions.
Okay.
I was listening to what they said. So I am so glad you all are joining us for this. If you're going to be doing it with us, please let us know. And if, like I said earlier, if this is your first time doing it, let me know. If you're a newbie like me, you're a newbie blockhead, let us know. Or if you've done this before, let us know too. I'm thankful that Katy invited me to do this with her.
I'm happy that you said yes. Everybody wants to take a leap of.
Well, I mean, and it's a free pattern too. You don't have to spend any money.
That's right. You are so right on that. That's the whole thing. To pay for a pattern. Wait, I think
You know, if you print it out on your paper, that's the most you gotta spend.
yep.
And some people, they just save it as a document and save it on their computer and pull up their computer screen
Yep, and forget about it.
and don't even worry about printing it out.
Yep.
And that's okay too.
You know, I have lots that I haven't made a whole lot of out of them, but they're great references for learning things.
Say that again.
I have a few quilting books now that I've bought over time, and you know, I may not necessarily always make anything out of them, but they're great reference books to learn.
Right.
Or if you're trying to
Yeah.
find a block that you want to make, you might find it in one of those books, you know, instead of trying to find it on the internet.
Yeah. Shoot, that's what we used before we had internet. We used books.
Yeah, you know, I am a book person anyway. It's like,
Me too.
you know, just because we listen to Audible doesn't mean I don't buy those books, because I do, because I love the smell of a book.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing better than the smell of a book. I think I'm in that generation, bookworm generation, where you
Yeah.
appreciation for books.
What do y'all prefer? Do you prefer like a book you can hold in your hands? That's what I enjoy. Or do you like the the ways where you can just be able to read it, like Audible or Kindle or something like that? How do you like to read if you like to read?
That's a great question.
Inquiring minds want to know. Okay, so now I've got my squares cut down to 3.5.
Yep,
I don't have a 3.5-inch ruler. Mine's a 4.5. So I might need to find to put in my stash of rulers a 3.5 if they make one.
they do. I have one right here in my hand.
Yeah. So that's what took me a little bit, is because I don't have one. I have a 4.5.
Yeah, I just realized I have to trim mine down too. They're not almost 4 inches, so go figure. So the papers, when you're looking at what it says it is, it's a kind of thing. So it'll say 3.5 inch and finished. And on the instructions, I'm sorry. Yeah, let me think of that again. Let me try that again. We're doing the big block. So it says 6.5 inches. So it doesn't say 6.5 inches finished or unfinished. So I used unfinished 3.5. So that means you have to trim down in order to get to 3.5. So why not just use 3 inch? Is my question of the day.
So that's your inquiring minds want to know.
No, why not just say, hey, this is going to make 3.5 inch triangles by using,
I haven't made half square triangles like this pattern. This is new.
You never made them like that before?
New?
Oh, that's interesting. I tell you what I have trouble with is when there's several ways to do flying geese, and there's that one where you can flying geese at the same time. I can never how the sides are supposed to come out. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong or why.
I always tell myself there's a YouTube video for that.
Yeah, if you can see what's going.
I'm like, all right, let me go check YouTube. What does YouTube say?
I think that's why Becca calls it YouTube University.
Yeah. My sister-in-law and I, we used to watch Becca all the time on Friday nights. And, as her girls have gotten a little bit older, they're in the toddler years now. So it's hard to kind of take that time on a Friday night away from them.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't get to watch Becca together as much anymore as we'd like to, but family comes first.
Sometimes
Raising those two little beautiful nieces of mine is very important.
Loving this red against this dark blue.
Yeah, what I can see from the video, it's beautiful. I love it.
I've been like hawing around. Do I want to do something with a a dark background, or a dark background? And a couple people said you need to try it because you're going to find out you really like it. And I'm always afraid that when you're using a lighter background, it's easy to use any color you want to use. But
Right.
that whatever you're using on this dark background is going to actually be okay. Okay, now they have all been trimmed down. Let's get this laid out properly. This is definitely going to make a nice block for the back of the quilt.
Oh, yeah. Did we say that? I don't remember if we said that in the video, y'all, but on the pattern, it's actually 4 pages if you print it out. And the autograph star is by Barbara Groves of Me and My Sister's Designs. And she said that she's absolutely terrible at making labels for her quilts. And she said usually she just writes her name on the backside along the binding, and half the time she doesn't even do that. So she said that we're starting this Moda Blockheads number 5 with a block that you could use as a label to her quilt. And so she says she's gonna put this like on the back. So the letter E, that's where you could essentially, if you wanted to, if you didn't have a label, you could make this block your label and document it so that years from now, everyone will know what this is.
Okay, so I'm going to show you this layout on my design board.
Holy cow, that looks great.
Now all I got to do is sew it all together.
I love it.
Yep, I can't wait to see yours too.
I'm hurrying.
So
I got delayed.
What I'm going to do here, since I already got the center sewn, I'm going to take this side and sew these together first, and then on the other side sew those together, and then we will then I'll sew these two together and these two together and join them to the center, and then I'll join 3 rows together.
Okay.
Now I'm switching foots back to the 1/4" foot that I used on my Janome, and then I'm going to reset the setting on my Janome to a 1/4". There's a little setting I can put on it that'll move the needle to the right.
Okay, cool.
Oh, look at that. That looks great. That's beautiful. Are you happy with it?
Yeah. I am.
It looks really nice.
So what we're doing right now is we've got all of our step 2 and step 3. Well, all of step 1, step 2, and working on step 2. We're putting all of our squares together. We've already put them out on our design board to see what they look like. So we're not going to show you that part of it just yet. We're going to give you the big reveal at the end. So that's what we're working on right now. So during this parts of it, we're doing the magic of editing and taking out some of putting this together so that you're not here all night.
Yep. Make sure I put these on here right.
And we were talking about it a few minutes ago, off camera. If you want to do these blocks with us, you are more than welcome to. And we both have found that if we cut our fabric up ahead of time, that's a huge time saver.
Yep.
That we can just get right into sewing, almost like a CottonCuts puzzle mystery clue.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you know.
Yeah, basically. So if you would like to join us in it, go ahead and print out your pattern, pull it up, go ahead and figure out what fabric sizes you need, go ahead and cut everything up, get it all labeled. It will save you a lot of time.
I don't think every block, you know, some of the blocks are going to be simpler than other blocks. So there'll be some of that, you know, as we're going through every week with the new, some of the blocks will be simpler than other blocks. They tend to not always make them overly complicated.
Okay. So because you've done this before, you know, you've done what? This is your third one?
Yeah, right? This is my third one, yeah.
So this first block that we're doing, is this one a little bit more on the beginner side, intermediate? What do you consider it?
I think it's advanced beginner to intermediate because of the star. You know, the half square part. But I could be wrong on that. I think a beginner could do it, you know, if they really set their mind to it. But if you know nothing about half square triangles, that might be a challenge.
But you know, but then again, the directions are pretty easy to follow also.
And that's what I like about it, because they're pretty simple to follow. So, and you have a picture to look at also.
Oh yeah. I'm very visual, so I'm like, just give me the picture. Let me look at the picture.
Yep, that's how I am too. I'm a visual learner as well. So sometimes reading a pattern don't always click, and I'm a good reader, but the way people write patterns, sometimes the wording might not be as understandable for a visual learner.
Right. And it just depends on the person too. You know, you may interpret something in the pattern differently than what I might, and it might make sense to you and completely confuse me.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
That's the whole gist of learning, I guess. People all learn different.
Right. I have to say, this is not my most favorite way of making half square triangles and flying geese.
Oh, you mean, yeah, some people didn't like doing the half square triangles to make the flying geese. Some of them actually changed it to do flying geese instead. I forgot to mention that. I saw that on the Moda Blockheads group, that some of them didn't really care to do it that way, and they ended up doing it differently. Yeah, I don't mind.
So that's good to know, y'all. So if you are on Facebook, since they have a Moda Blockheads Facebook group, you know, people will put on there their best practices, and if you don't like making the half square triangles or the flying geese the way that they do it on here. You can always go and make it the way you like to make it, if that, makes things easier for you. So just a thought. Sometimes people will put that on there on the page and say, hey, this is how I did it. This worked better for me.
Yeah, that happens, and it's okay if someone discovers there's a better, an easier way for you to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like doing flying geese, and I'll do half square triangles any day of those. But I mean, I'm not saying I won't do them. But
they're just not your favorite to do.
Yeah. It's like
right. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope. Somebody asked in the Zoom the other day, in Becca's Zoom, because people were asking different kinds of questions. And they're saying, what is your most unfavorite thing to do in quilting that you don't like doing? You know what mine is? Mine is I don't like sewing borders, but I like sewing binding. And I don't, that's weird. But I hate sewing borders. It's like it's a nuisance. I don't know where that piece of broken needle went to, but I can't find it. Dang it. It went somewhere.
Maybe you'll find it later.
Yeah, I might have to take the bottom off my machine and have a peek around there. I bet I'm going to find some straight pins in there anyway. But I have to keep tape over my plate hole, or these really itty bitty straight pins fall in.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of a micro needle before, so that's new for me. I'm like, what?
Called Microtex sharp needles, and the numbers on it is 7010. I don't know if that means anything to you or not. I mean,
I think most needles have numbers on there like that. I think doesn't it just basically describe the size of the needle?
I think so. I'm not that educated on needles. Something I need to resolve. I need to really learn what those numbers actually mean.
I learn as I go.
Yeah, that's how. What am I doing? And there's really not big explanations. I mean, I bought one of those little handbooks that talks about needle, and it talks about the size and what's different about each needle, but it doesn't really explain, well, this needle's the best for. I mean, it gives you an example of things you can use it with, but it never really specifies don't use this for this.
Y'all, we know what Katie's gonna be doing later, looking for needles in her machine.
Yep, I'm gonna have to take the whole bottom off my machine. This is something that you don't get told about. When a straight pin, when I discovered the straight pin fell in, I went on the Janome group and I said, I have a problem and I don't know what to do about it. And I explained what happened. And, I have to send my machine to Denmark when it needs, I haven't done that yet. I haven't even had it serviced yet since I bought it, because it would require me putting it in a box and sending it to Denmark. And I told him that the needle had fell through one of the holes that's on the needle plate. And so one of the ladies says, did you know that there is a manual? I mean, you get a manual with your sewing machine, but you don't get the technical manual. Did you know there's a manual that tells you how to take the bottom off your machine? And I said, no. So she happened to own a Janome 6700B, and she sent me the manual, and it walks you step by step on how you lay the machine on its side, and you unscrew all the screws that's underneath it, and you can open that bottom thing up, and you can see all of the machine from the bottom.
Oh, wow. And
you're not harming anything when you're doing it. Unless, of course, you do something dumb, which I would never do. And when I opened it, I thought I was only going to find one straight pin. I found 11. So that means I was unaware that,
oh my goodness,
that was So I was totally unaware that there was 10 in there. So I started putting, I got washi tape over those holes. Those holes are like little screw holes, I guess, that you mount something. And I haven't used any of my, whatever you used to do that with. Uh-oh, that didn't press right. I think I put too much water in my iron. Well, I've got the center part sewn together all the way now. I'll show it to you in just a second.
Okay.
And then all that's left to do is finish sewing the sides together and get them on.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so I'm getting closer. What about you?
Yeah, getting closer too.
Okay, here's the center.
Oh, cool. Now, see, that's not how I put mine together.
Huh?
I did mine left to right.
Oh, did you?
Uh-huh.
In a weird way. I do what works on the screen.
Oh, that's right. No, that's fine. I was just thinking that we did it completely two different ways, you know?
Yeah, because
each way is not wrong.
no, that's right. It's not, because when you look at the directions, it shows a picture you how to sew them together, but it doesn't really tell you which ones you should put on first. But I like to work the two outer edges separate from the center, and that way I don't get confused. Because sometimes I can turn a triangle the wrong way, and not doing that, and that's why I do it like this. It keeps me from putting a triangle in the wrong direction. Is
that means you've put a triangle in the wrong direction before
Yeah.
and you've learned from it.
Yeah, I can tell you it's been more than once that I've done that. And I'll be showing off a block thinking I'm all proud of myself. Then somebody will say, hey, did you notice that over on the right hand top, you're triangled in the wrong direction? And then when I look at it, I'm like, oh,
No.
no. That flower I made for my swap partner, I can't tell you how many times, because that was half square triangle mixed with an odd block. And I kept turning one of the triangles in the wrong direction. I did it like 4 times. And Nikolai could hear me in here fussing. You realize you've been sitting at this machine for 6 hours, right? Oh, no, I didn't know I've been sitting here that long. He says, it's time for you to just turn the machine off and come to the bedroom and veg in front of the TV, because you're not going to you take a break.
Leave it to our husbands to remind us to take a break. That's awesome.
Because sometimes it just requires, let's clear the mind and not think about it for a while. And it's mostly because of my being angle challenged that causes it. I absolutely don't know why I'm like that.
It's part of who you are.
I understand geometry and all that. That's not the problem. It's when you're putting them together that teases me. Or if I'm doing it when I'm tired. I notice that it happens a lot when I'm tired also.
Yeah. Like anything, you need to take breaks.
Yep. Because I love doing this, so it's not that. Okay, we got one side ready to sew on. I'm going to stick this other one ironed and see how it looks. Right, not iron. Okay, I'm about to sew on the right side of this block. Get everything up. Ooh, we're only going to have to put 2 seams in the, make sure 2 seams line up and not 3. Oh, look, we got the side sewn on. Let's see if the seams match. And if they do, we are
Mine aren't perfectly matched.
Ooh, I think I'll be just fine. All right, let's press this boy. Never perfect. We all know that. I mean,
Yeah, mine's not.
I have a couple of little spots in here that's like, but
Mine's not perfect, but pretty.
it's so minute. I don't think anybody's even gonna notice. Man, there is a lot of blocks to sew kind of carnival.
I haven't even finished clue number 1 yet.
I'm still working on clue number 1 myself. So
All right. Well, you're not the only one.
Yeah,
I did that one. I did the one little block, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like it was like a fourth of the block.
Yep. I started to think I got 1B done. Now I'm working on 1A.
This one right here. That's right here. That's all I did.
That looks really good though. Yeah. I got that whole section finished now. It's the other section I'm working on.
That's as far as I've gotten.
A lot of pieces. But then I noticed that somebody put up clue 2 and it didn't look like there was as many pieces of that. Hey girl, you're gonna like my block, I think. Or either I
think you're gonna like her too.
Or I'm just kidding myself one. I'm glad I chose these colors.
I'm glad I chose the colors.
Yeah, I really like what you chose. It reminded me of the person that's doing the batiks in those colors. And I was amazed at how nice they looked. I'm not much of a green person, but her greens were beautiful, and your greens are pretty too.
I kind of wish now that the letter A, get the A. Yeah, I wish I could in a different color than the white.
I couldn't tell if that was white or yellow.
It's kind of like an off-white.
Okay, because it didn't look like it was a white.
It's not a white.
But when you showed it to me as, just this fabric, it looked like it was white on white. It has little flowers on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like an off-white. It's really, the background is off-white, and then the flowers that are on it are white.
Okay. Are you waiting on me?
I am.
Okay, hang on. I've got to sew this last. I'm trying to pin it on there now. Make sure those seams line up. Put my trusty little pins in there. I'm kind of jealous of Tiffany because Tiffany, she doesn't use pins when she's putting her blocks together, but her seams always match.
She's just probably had so much, experience with it.
Yep, she's
really easy for her to do that, Yep.
You would think that Kimberly Jarley would be far enough along to be doing that.
I just think she loves to have as perfect as perfectly possible.
I have to say, her blocks are always beautiful. So you finished before me. See, this always happens. I'm always last.
Yeah, usually I'm always behind.
You know how I feel. Let's try not to break another needle tonight. I put a bigger needle in here, so maybe it'll be all right. I have to say, the hole in those micros are really small.
I bet that.
Okay, guess what? I'm about to, all I have to do is finish pressing this one seam, and then I can show it to you.
Okay. You ready for me to kind of talk a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead and talk.
Okay. So we are on the finishing steps now of getting everything done. So we've got all of our squares and our flying geese sewn together. So now we're just doing the finishing touches of ironing it. I've got mine ironed and Katie's finishing up hers right now. So can't wait to show it to you. I haven't even showed Katie mine yet.
No, she hasn't. She's been.
So she hasn't even seen it yet. And I love it because both blocks are the same, but because of different fabrics that we chose, they look completely different. So are you ready?
So you show yours.
We'll do one. You want to do 1, 2, 3, or just, oh, well, yeah. Okay. You do yours first. Show us yours. Go ahead and show us yours first. Oh, wow. It's beautiful.
You.
Look at those. Look at those points.
Oh, thanks.
Much better than mine.
We'll see.
All right. Yeah. All right. Here's mine.
I think yours looks great.
Thanks.
Yeah, they
There
look
are beautiful.
amazing. That's beautiful. I love
you. So I can have it this way.
And yeah, you can do
But I
it.
love it this way.
Yep.
Yep. We did it. Yay! Yay!
I'm so happy about
All
that.
right.
So we hope.
Yes. So we did an amazing.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So we appreciate all of y'all watching our videos, and I hope that you enjoyed watching us sew this first Moda block, which is called the bonus block autograph block. And we're hoping that you will continue to follow us every week when we put the videos up. We hope you'll be there.
And we would love to see your blocks as well. So tag us and let us know what you've done. If you are on my Facebook, you know, I do have Martha's Creative Life and Friends, and I also have Martha's Creative Life on Instagram. You can always post, you know, if you want to post that over there. Also, you know, we do have the Moda Blockheads on Facebook. Also, that's a, you know, where everybody can see everything that's due for Moda Blockheads number 5.
I think that's a great idea. And until we figure out where we can make it where everybody can, I guess posting in your group and on Instagram is going to be a good way to do it.
Yeah, I think that'll, you know, until we figure out something else. If y'all have any better ideas, let us know.
Yep.
So look forward to doing block number 2 very soon. So
it's going to be block number 1. This was a bonus block.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So we'll be doing block number 1.
One comes out on Wednesday.
We did the bonus block first.
Yep, that's what they decided to do. So on Wednesday, block number 1 will come out. And then on Fridays, like we said, if you can also download the pattern from Moda's website, and I will put both the links in there just in case you're not a Facebooker. You will have another way of downloading the pattern, and they're all free. So that's the beauty of this whole thing.
Love. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to do this block with you. It was so much fun.
And I appreciate you doing this with me too. I think we're going to have a good time once we work out all the little kinks and stuff.
Oh yeah. There's always kinks to begin with.
Yeah, I'm learning. You know more.
All right, y'all.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, we're both learning. Thank you. See y'all next time.
Yep. Bye, everybody.